Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Clone Wars review. Just right off the bat, I'm going to apologize for this being late. This is being posted on a Wednesday as opposed to the usual Mondays this goes up on. I have a very good reason for that, and that is when I woke up Friday morning, I was very, very sick. And then that carried on into Saturday, and then Sunday a little bit as well. I worked on getting better. So it's the last couple days have been a little rough. I've not been feeling very well, which is why I have not gotten this done. So yeah, I apologize for that, but it is what it is, and also, this is going to be a little on the short side, maybe 10 minutes at most. Because honestly, I don't really have that much to say anyway, and I'm still trying to get completely back up on the mend, but I feel good enough to record this. So, yeah, so Season 7, Episode 4, Unfinished Business. That's kind of the motto for Season 7 of Clone Wars altogether, actually, when you think about it. So, yeah, this is the last episode of the Bad Batch arc, and, it's pretty entertaining. This episode, like the others, is mostly exactly the same. The only thing that's really changed in this one is the very, very end. I think the ending of this one is just as strong as the original ending. The original ending, I can't remember if... There seems to be some disputes about this, but because it was unfinished animation, we can't tell 100%, but it seems like the original version may have alluded to the idea that Rex removed his inhibitor chip, which seems like a random throwaway thing to put in this arc when this arc has literally nothing to do with that. So I could see why they would remove that. And also at the same time, the Bad Batch this time around saying, award ceremonies are not exactly our thing. That honestly, that makes sense. That makes sense that, the award ceremonies aren't necessarily a thing for the Bad Batch. Where last time they kind of gladly accept their awards, and then this time they're in the official version. They're like, it's not exactly our thing. We did our job. We're going home or wherever we go next. And then of course Echo going with them. Now, we know from other canceled arcs that Echo was always supposed to join them. He was going to be in the Yoda on Kashyyyk arc, where we learn why Yoda has such good relations with the Wookiees. And then he was going to be with the Bad Batch there. Yoda was going to be with the Bad Batch, and then Echo would have been part of that team then. So we know that he was always going to stay. This just shows us when he made the decision to stay. So it's going to be interesting if they ever get around to telling that story, because I don't know, Yoda just saying, good relations with the Wookiees I have. That's a terrible impression, but go to Kashyyyk, I will. And it's like, it's settled. And there's like, what about the droid attack on the Wookiees, to quote the meme. But that always seemed kind of this weird throwaway line to me. And then when they were going over the stuff that they had to cancel for Clone Wars, it's like, oh, that would have added such nice context to that line. I really wish they'd gotten around to doing that. But now that they've set up the story of Echo in Bad Batch, I wonder if we'll get that in some other medium. I could see that being a comic run, because IDW is doing this new Clone Wars Adventures run. So if that becomes popular, I could see Marvel doing some more unfinished Clone Wars arcs to finish it up. Because in terms of the main story of Clone Wars, I don't think we're going to get like any standalone arcs down the line, like in 2 Wars, like, oh hey, we're doing another 4 episodes of Clone Wars. It's like such as Son of Dathomir, just to pull an example. I don't think we're going to get or Top Gun with clones. I don't think we're going to get any of that stuff. The only one I could see us getting is Cad Bane teaching Boba Fett to be Boba Fett. That's the only one I could see us getting. And that's just because, yes, it takes place during the Clone Wars, and it has a lot to do with Cad Bane, because Cad Bane is a Clone Wars character. I could see them promoting that as an animated Boba Fett movie. and it just happens to be animated in the Clone Wars style because it was originally supposed to be a couple episodes of Clone Wars. Of course, we don't know how long that arc was going to be. That could have been 2 episodes, it could have been 3 episodes, that could have been 4 episodes. We don't know. So I could see that one getting released as like a standalone animated Boba Fett movie, but in terms of the other arcs, I think it's going to be kind of like where we were back in 2014 after the Lost Missions came out. It's like, well, where are we now? We're either going to get books or comics, well, actually, we're not going to get any more animated story reels because those are kind of done, have been for a long time. But you know what I'm saying is that at this point, I think if we're going to get more Clone Wars related content, it's going to be in comics or books. And I think at this point, if the Clone Wars Adventures IDW run is successful, I think we'll start getting some Marvel books. So that could be interesting. So yeah, that's the ending. Again, overall, the episode was basically beat for beat exactly the same. There's just like some people pointed out just like some tiny little changes here and there, such as the Y-wing bomber using the kind of modified Phase 2 clone pilot armor instead of the Episode 3 open-faced helmet that we saw in, Revenge of the Sith, as I said. That's what was originally in the story reel, but then it got switched out to that kind of Phase 2 clone pilot armor. There's small changes like that aren't really big, that are littered throughout the episode. One that again, this is a nitpick, it doesn't really affect anything at all, but one that I wish had stayed is that when Wrecker goes through all those droids, and then he gets to the last one, and he says all clear. In the finished version, the droid's going, not the face, not the face, not the face, and then he gets his head smashed in. I like the original version just a little bit more, because the droid is at least trying to put up a brave face. He's going, if you surrender peacefully, I will make it noted in my report. And then he gets his head punched in. I don't know. I just kind of like that a little bit more, that even when he's scared to death, the droid's still trying to fulfill his programming and still trying to... I don't know. I kind of like that better than not the face, but I mean, It's a nitpick. It doesn't affect anything one way or the other. It's just a personal preference thing. It doesn't affect my judgment of the episode as a whole. So, yeah, it was a good episode. It was really great to see it in finished animation. I especially like that, since Kevin Kiner went through and actually scored these episodes, and they didn't have to use pre-existing tracks that he had already done, that they added a little bit of the Imperial March to when Anakin is confronting Trench. And it's like, you are Jedi. You have nobility. And it's like, I don't have such weaknesses. That was awesome. It's like, oh, he's just that much closer to the dark side. It's that much closer to Vader. You could see a lot of Vader in him at that moment, especially with the way it was shot and the lightsaber just kind of hanging down. So yeah, it was a good episode. If I had to rank these, I think On the Wings of Kiridax is definitely in last place, because like I said, I enjoyed the episode, but I was kind of disappointed in it because I felt like removing again, I would be able to remember the name of that, whatever that device was, if I was feeling better, but I'm still kind of coming out of it. So yeah, removing that whatever scene, it kind of hurt the episode as a whole, I feel. So that one's definitely last place. I think this one may be third. Then no. A Distant Echo is third. I think Bad Batch may be second, and this one may be first, because it does end on that triumphant note of, since it's the last episode in the arc. So yeah, but I mean, this is just an arbitrary rating. It doesn't really matter what order these episodes go in. That's just to try to pad for time a little bit here, because honestly, I don't really have too much more to say. So yeah, no, it was a good episode. I really enjoyed it. I've kind of been struggling a little bit of what to talk about for some of these outsiders. Like, well, yeah, it's a good episode. Here are the changes, because I've known what's been in these episodes for like 5 years at this point because of the story reels. But yeah, and it's really the change, and a lot of people have known about what's in these episodes for years because of the story reel. So, but starting this week, we're not going to know what's happening going forward because it's actually going to be new episodes. So I'm probably going to have a lot more to say about those because I'm going to be going, oh, I don't know where this story is going. So yeah, so actually that is something, is that Anaxes didn't blow up, which I was kind of surprised about. But I did a little research in between episodes, and it does state specifically somewhere on StarWars.com that Anaxes did, in fact, blow up after the Clone Wars. So I feel like Trench's bomb was probably still responsible. It's probably that it somehow got activated. And then the place went sky high, and then the planet blew up to where we saw it in Rebels. I was not quite aware of the fact that it said specifically somewhere in canon that it happened after the Clone Wars. I thought that maybe we would have seen it in this arc, but yeah, I wasn't aware of that little tidbit of information, so makes sense. But yeah, so yeah, that's going to be pretty much it. I'm excited to see where the rest of the season goes. We have 8 episodes left in this final season of Clone Wars. This next arc, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be Ahsoka's journey and seeing what she's going to be up to and how she kind of finds her way back into the Grand Army of the Republic. Not necessarily the Jedi Order, but how she gets a command back. And then, of course, that leads to the Siege of Mandalore. So it's things are about to get intense here. It'll be very interesting. It'll be great to have Ahsoka back because, this version of Ahsoka, we haven't had a new story with her since, I guess, 2013. I mean, technically, you could count the Forces of Destiny shorts, because those were a thing. And we got some little tidbits of Ahsoka in there, and actually, we got some good little tidbits of Ahsoka in those because, there was a comic that came out with her sparring with Barriss, and you could kind of see some of the ideological split that started with them, and then of course we got the one short where it reveals she totally knows that Anakin and Padme are a thing. Of course, that short was released after. It was released after her last episode of season 5, where she leaves, where it's you don't know, but I really want to leave the Order. It's oh, I know. It's oh, holy gosh, she does. So yeah, it just adds to that moment. But we've got a couple moments, but really, we haven't had anything substantial with this version of Ahsoka since 2013, when she walked away from the Order. So it's gonna be good to see this version of Ahsoka back, even if she is slightly older. New costume and everything. So yeah, I'm excited. That'll be it for this not really this episode, this review. So again, sorry it's a little bit short, but I haven't been feeling well. So I will see you guys next time, where hopefully I'll be feeling a little better and we can talk for a little longer. See you guys then.